If you're an up-and-coming YouTuber and you want some new channel art to catch some viewers' eyes or even thumbnails made, or you even want some intros, make sure you check out YouTubeGrafx.com to make some of the best graphics out there. And if you guys want to check them out, I'll link them down in the description, and use code ONYQUIST at checkout and you'll save 5% on your order. In today's video, it's going to be the start of a new series I'm going to be doing with other hockey YouTubers on the channel called NHL Would You Rather, and today's guest we have Justin from Hands Down Hockey. Now many of you already know him. In my opinion, he's probably one of the most knowledgeable guys that makes NHL YouTube videos, so if you do not already know him, go check him out please. You will be doing yourself a favor, but most of you probably already do know him, but if you don't, make sure to go subscribe. I'm going to link his stuff down in the description below. But how this is going to work is we just have a series of questions called like would you rather this or would you rather that, all based off of NHL topics. So I hope you guys are going to enjoy this video, and you guys can play along down in the comment section below. And without further ado, let's get right into the video. So would you rather get hit open ice by Scott Stevens or get hit where there's no padding with an Ovechkin slap shot? Now a lot of people are going to probably say rather get hit open ice because an Ovechkin slap shot where there's no padding, that could potentially break some bones. But for me personally, I've been dealing with concussions throughout my entire playing hockey career, so I would probably have to go with the Ovechkin slap shot, because if I was to get hit open ice by Scott Stevens, there is a very, very good chance that I would not wake up.
Hey everyone, I want to start by giving a huge shout out for O Nyquist for bringing me on board for this collaboration. I'll definitely be looking to do further collaborations over the coming weeks. So would you rather, it's interesting when you adapt this to hockey, and O Nyquist has brought forward quite a few interesting questions. So would you rather get hit open ice by Scott Stevens or get hit where there is no padding by an Ovechkin slap shot? Okay, well the Ovechkin slapshot one kind of freaks me out. I mean, just the I played hockey, I've been hit there, it does not feel good. So personally, I would go with the open ice hit by Scott Stevens, absolutely, because Scott Stevens is a living legend, and if I'm the guy who could say I survived a Scott Stevens check, open ice, that could kind of give me some bragging rights to a degree, although I might be in a wheelchair, but hey, Scott Stevens is a legend, and I think it would be my choice over getting hit in the family jewels, if you know what I mean.
So would you rather build your franchise around Dylan Larkin or Mitch Marner? Now me as a Red Wings fan, this is probably a tougher decision for it would be for some other people, but I ultimately would have to go with Mitch Marner. But I'm so high on Dylan Larkin, like I think he could be a Jonathan Toews-like kind of player, but obviously that's kind of far-fetched, but you never know. I'm really a fan of his game. These two guys are some of the fastest players in the NHL, and I think it'd be awesome to build your franchise around either of these guys. But for me, Mitch Marner I think is the better all-around player, and he showed us more throughout his career so far. Obviously, Dylan Larkin had a great rookie year, then had a down season, but he bounced back with a good year this year. But Mitch Marner really has not had a down season yet, had a fantastic year this season, and he really stood out in the playoffs to me, so that's another important thing when considering this. So I would go probably with Mitch Marner.
Would you rather build your franchise around Mitch Marner or Dylan Larkin? Now, Dylan Larkin's a very fast young talent. Mitch Marner, to me, seems like a more complete player. If I had to pick one player from the Toronto Maple Leafs, that's my guy, my favorite player, it would be Mitch Marner. I'm a huge Mitch Marner fan for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and yes, I would definitely take him over Larkin in order to build my franchise.
So next up is would you rather drop the gloves with Ryan Reeves or Matt Martin? I'd probably have to go with Ryan Reeves. In my opinion, Matt Martin is a little bit more intimidating, and he seems like he would just be relentless, but Ryan Reeves seems like the type of player to me that would just knock you out and then help you up and have a laugh with you afterwards, so I would probably have to go with Ryan Reeves.
Would you rather drop the gloves with Matt Martin or Ryan Reeves? I think I'd rather drop the gloves with Ryan Reeves, just because to me he's more of a class act. He's absolutely hilarious, and he does a lot for the hockey community, both on and off the ice. And he's the type of guy that adds a positive vibe to any locker room. And I think he's the type of guy who would, laugh and have a good time over the scrap, opposed to Matt Martin. Maybe I have that wrong, not sure there. But I just think he's the type of guy where you could drop the gloves and then after the game have a beer with him and have a great in-depth conversation about the game of hockey. I'm a huge Ryan Reeves fan.
Would you rather have Austin Matthews or Matthew Barzal? Now, for me, this is probably a bit closer than other people. I'm really a big fan of Matthew Barzal. I think he has the potential to be like a top 5 forward in the NHL in his future, in his career. But I'd probably have to go with Austin Matthews because I think he's more of a well-rounded type player. I think Matthew Barzal has the ability to maybe put up more points throughout the career than Austin Matthews does. But I feel like Austin Matthews is a player that you'd want to build your franchise around more so than Matt Barzal. So I would probably have to go with Austin Matthews opposed to Matthew Barzal on who I would rather have on my team.
Would you rather have Matthews or Barzal? I would take Matthews over Barzal in this situation. Just simply because, Barzal, we've only seen so much of him, but we've seen more from Matthews and what he can accomplish. I thought last year Matthews looked better in the playoffs than this year, but I think Barzal's going to grow over the coming years, and I think he could easily be on par with Austin Matthews, but right now, if I had to choose, it would be Austin Matthews over Barzal.
Next up, we have would you rather win Olympic gold or would you rather win World Junior gold? Now that NHL players aren't in the Olympics, I think I'd have to go with World Junior gold and maybe even before that. Because in my opinion, World Junior hockey is some of the best hockey throughout the year. It's my favorite tournament to watch, really, besides obviously the Stanley Cup playoffs. And I just think the atmosphere of World Junior hockey is so electric. It's all young kids trying to make a name for themselves and playing for their country. So I would probably have to go with World Junior championships. But some people and most people would probably choose the Olympics, in my opinion. But I would probably have to go with the World Juniors.
Would you rather win Olympic gold or World Junior gold? I think I would take Olympic gold just because it's a bigger stage. Although World Junior, that is some of the best hockey every year without question. Olympic, it only comes up every 4 years. But still, I think I would take the Olympic gold over World Junior gold just because there would be more fame from that and it would just be a grander stage.
Next up is would you rather have Brock Boeser or Clayton Keller? This is an interesting one. Clayton Keller has the potential to be one of the most electrifying players in the NHL, in my opinion, but I would probably have to go with Brock Boeser. I'm a big Brock Boeser fan. He has one of the most lethal shots in the league at such a young age, and he has such a good head on his shoulders. And Clayton Keller, in my opinion, is a bit undersized, and I think it's harder for obviously undersized guys to succeed as there's so much hard hitting and stuff going on in the NHL. So if I was figuring out who I'd want to build my franchise around, I would probably choose Brock Boeser, but Clayton Keller is an amazing player.
Would you rather have Brock Boeser or Clayton Keller? I would take Brock Boeser. I am a huge Brock Boeser fan, and I think he's a kid that's playing beyond his years. He's coming to the NHL with a very mature mindset and attitude, and to me, he presents himself like a guy who's been in the league for 5 years, and he was a rookie. I mean, unbelievable.
Next we have would you rather be an NHL head coach or a general manager? Now most people are probably going to say general manager just because you want to be the guy behind the scenes making all the trades and free agent signings, but I would actually want to be a head coach. I just want to be the guy down there on the bench with my players, mixing up the lines, matching lines with the other team, and just strategizing like that. I think that would be a lot of fun in my opinion, and just giving speeches before the games and stuff like that. So if it were me, I would choose to be an NHL head coach over a general manager.
Rather be an NHL head coach or NHL general manager? I would rather be a general manager. I would love to be the puppeteer. I'd love to play with the lineup in order to tinker and get it to where I want. I mean, I like playing GM mode in NHL. That's a huge selling point for me. It's a ton of fun, and I love currently going on to Cap Friendly, and I love looking at all the different contracts, all the different cap hits, and starting to just, personally look at the teams and think, okay, well, they could tweak here, they could tweak there. I have a ton of fun with it, and I mean, that's just more my interest. If I had a choice, although I would never be in this situation, definitely not, I would take to be a GM over a head coach.
Next up is would you rather lose Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final in overtime or get swept in the Stanley Cup Finals? Now, I think I would choose Game 7 overtime just because you came that close, but getting swept would probably be easier to take as when you're already down 3-0, you're kind of expecting that you're going to lose opposed to expecting you're going to win in Game 7 and just being that much more heartbreaking, but ultimately I would go with losing in overtime of Game 7.
Would you rather have lost Game 7 in overtime in the Stanley Cup Final or be swept in the Stanley Cup Final? I'd rather be swept, I'd rather lose in Game 7 in overtime in the Cup Final than be swept. Simply because I could say I was that close. I think it would be harder to deal with if you were swept 4 straight in the Stanley Cup Final. I think as a player that would just absolutely shatter confidence. Maybe I'm wrong because obviously I've never played in the Stanley Cup Final, but if I had a choice, I'd rather go out in Game 7 to at least say I went down fighting, and we were that close. Absolutely that close.
Would you rather have Mark Scheifele or Leon Draisaitl? Now, I would probably go with Mark Scheifele, but if you were to ask me this question last year, I might have a different answer. But because of what Mark Scheifele did in the playoffs and kind of the down year that the Oilers and Leon Draisaitl had, I'd probably go with Mark Scheifele. In my opinion, he has the potential to be one of the most elite centers in the NHL, and he's not really known for a goal scorer, and the goals he was scoring throughout the playoffs was pretty amazing, and his performance was just second to none, so I would go with Mark Scheifele.
I'd rather have Mark Scheifele or Leon Draisaitl. I'd rather have Mark Scheifele just because, hey, he's leading the playoffs right now in goals. Mark Scheifele is an absolute stud, and I think he's just going to get better as the years go by. I would, hands down, take Mark Scheifele over Leon Draisaitl.
And lastly, we have, would you rather have the hardest shot in the NHL or would you rather be the fastest skater in the NHL? And for me, I'd rather be the fastest skater. I feel like you're more of a fan favorite then. It's just electrifying when you get up to full speed and have the potential to score those amazing goals. But for having the best shot, you probably will get a lot more power play time and score more goals. But for me, I would probably choose being the fastest skater in the NHL because I think that would just be a lot more fun.
Rather be the fastest skater in the NHL or have the best shot in the NHL? I would rather have the best shot in the NHL than be the fastest skater. Connor McDavid to me is the fastest skater in the NHL, but he also has a great shot too. Connor McDavid's a very well-rounded player, but if I had to pick one specific asset to have over the other, it would be the best shot in the NHL. I really feel if I had the best shot, I could offer more to my lineup, but you could argue as the fastest skater, you could offer more, especially when it comes to the transition game from defense to offense. I guess it kind of depends on what position you're playing, whether it's offense or defense, but yeah, I would rather have the best shot just because scoring goals is a lot of fun, isn't it? So what are your answers to those would you rather questions? I'd be interested to hear. So you guys can check me out at Hands Down Hockey, youtube.com/handsdownhockey. Another huge thank you to O Nyquist for allowing me to hop on board for this one. Absolutely check out O Nyquist. Big fan. Check out all the videos here. Great stuff. So back to you, O Nyquist.
So that is going to wrap up this video. I really hope everybody did enjoy. This was probably one of the most fun videos I ever made on my channel. This is going to be a recurring thing, going to bring other YouTubers on to do this type of thing. I thought I'd start it off with Justin from Hands Down Hockey because he's one of my favorite hockey YouTubers and just YouTubers in general, and the same probably goes for a lot of my viewers, so make sure to check us out on Twitter. I'll link them down in the description, and make sure to subscribe to his channel. He makes bomb hockey videos, and you will not be disappointed. But yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, please make sure, go down, hit the like button, and subscribe to the channel for daily NHL content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.